Today's class is a full body reformer on the mat sculpt using a few props to mimic that reformer-like feel at home. The only prop you really need are the sliders. So if you don't have these, I recommend grabbing some socks or some small hand towels if you're on hardwood, and if you're on carpet, something like paper plates would work. You will need these. Optional props are some light hand weights and ankle weights. So get those on now for you using them. We're going to start with the sliders underneath our hands. So fold up your mat, make sure you've got some room in front of you. Taking the hands onto the sliders, knees come underneath the hips. We're just gonna start with a cat-cow just to find our neutral spine here. So we're going to start to tuck nose towards navel, rounding up through the spine, and then coming into an extension through the back of the body. Okay, we round up and find our extension. Two more like this. We can start to add some breath, exhaling as we bring nose towards navel. Inhaling as we find the length at the back of the body. Okay, last one. Inhale, extension. Give me one last round up, nose to navel. And then before you come into the extension, find the spot in the middle where you feel tall in the arms, little dip in the lower back. We're gonna press down into the sliders to glide them out ahead of the shoulders. So reach, 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 and then dip the elbows down, press through palms, lift, and then pull the sliders back in. Okay, so no change in the lower body. Hands slide forward, you dip through the triceps, and then pull in. Okay, you press away, dip, up and in. So hands come forward so that elbows can then come beneath shoulders. Feeling that pull underneath the armpit as you slide the sliders back in towards the body. So hands come back under shoulders. Okay. Give me a nice exhale, pulling the hands back in. Just two more like this. Starting to warm up here. No change in the spine. Last one. Press down. Instead of coming all the way back in, you're going to start to extend through fronts of the hips, pull them forward, shoulders over hands, and then back, okay? So we're holding the hands out. We come into this modified plank, and then you hinge at the hips, sit the bum back just over the knees. Nice and long at the back of the body. Okay. Exhale as you come into the plank, supporting lower core. Really gentle core engagement here. You can imagine like you've got a wide belt on the low abdominals. Every time you come into that modified plank, it hugs and cinches a few notches. All right. Let's add that tricep push-up, totally optional. You come here, elbows go back. And glide. So hands don't change. You're opening up through the hips, pushing down and up, sitting bum back over knees. Okay, a few more like this. Really warming up through the core and upper body. Feeling nice and stable on the arms. Connecting to breath. Let's do two more. Forward, lower. You find your range there. Maybe you find you can go a little bit deeper for this last one. Holding in the plank, tucking toes under. We're gonna cinch that belt, hover both knees off, and then tap back. Okay, now just the lower body's moving. Upper body's stable. You're nice and long in the back of the neck. Shoulders are away from the ears. Inhale, tap. Exhale, that belt cinches to help you hover the knees off. You really need to think pressing tall off arms. You can think reaching heels back in opposition, reaching out of crown of head. As you come into that long line at the back of the body. One more, we're going to hold at the top. Maybe you take opposite knee to elbow and alternate. Okay, so if you feel a bit unsteady on the sliders here, because they do move, you can walk your hands onto just the floor. Otherwise, you're here pressing tall, pressing firmly straight down into the sliders. Okay, walking opposite knee to elbow. They may not tap. I want you to maintain the length through your core, starting to turn on obliques here for 4 and 3. Last 2 and 1. Walk it back, dropping the knees down. Sit it back just a moment for me. Releasing through the upper body for a second. And then we're gonna peel it back forward and bring the hips back forward. So you're in that modified plank again. You're going to start to open up through the side waist. So hips open up to the side, legs stack. From here, you're gonna start to tuck nose to navel, rounding in, pulling the sliders in, and then back into your plank. Okay, so it's like an oblique ab curl. But upper body has to work here, right? So initiate it. Nose to navel. Exhale. Press down into the slider. Start to puff up between the shoulder blades. So we are moving the spine here. It's neutral. And then you find that flexion. Feeling that shortening through the bottom side waist. Woo! That oblique is working. Just 2 more on this side. Amazing. We've got 1 more. Nose to navel. Meet me back out in that twisted plank. Now we're gonna go opening all the way into your side plank, tall on that bottom arm, tiny lifts and lowers of the hips. Every time you lift the hips, you can think belt cinches a few notches. Getting your breath involved. Engaging from underneath the armpit where we've been priming for 2. Hold hips high for 1. Top leg lifts and reaches. And lower. So we're stabilizing on that bottom arm, supporting through that bottom side waist, making sure shoulders are away from the ears here. And now we're starting to get the lower body involved a little bit more. 4 more kicks side. Think long reach through the leg, not just lift, long reach. 2 and 1. Holding there, draw tiny circles with the leg. Tiny circles. This is our last layer here. Staying nice and tall on the arm. I know it's burning. Big warm up today. 2. We've got to reverse it. All right, let's go for 8, 7. Those circles are coming from deep in the hips. Deep in that top hip, I should say. 2 and 1. Pulling it back in, finding a twisted child's pose now. All right, okay, walking it back out into your plank, finding our center, and then we're gonna open up through opposite hip, stacking the opposite direction now. So nose starts to tuck towards navel, you round up through the spine, and then come back out, okay? If you ever need to make this easier, decrease the range of motion, so maybe hands don't go all the way out into your plank. And one side will feel a little bit different than the other. This is my non-dominant side. So finding it's a little more challenging, but we can do it. Nose to navel, engage the breath. Exhale, puff up between the shoulder blades, finding that spine flexion, okay? And out. Just 2 more. Inhale out. Last one. Meet me back out in that plank position, opening up all the way into your side plank. So bottom arm should be underneath the shoulder. Tiny lift and lower of the hips, rolling that bottom shoulder down and back, staying nice and tall, even as you dip through the hips. Take a moment to bring the front ribs in if we feel like we're puffing out through the chest. Every time you lift, think cinching the belt through the lower abdominals to help you get those hips 1 inch higher for 2 and 1. Hold. Top leg lifts and reaches. Okay. Amazing. Think long reach through the leg. Staying nice and tall on that bottom arm, reaching long through crown of head for 2. We're going to hold that leg up in 1. Tiny circles. and circles. Now we should be feeling that bottom side glute as well. I'm starting to feel mine fire up because it already worked for us on the other side. So normal to find the shake there. One more this direction. Let's just reverse for 8 and 7. Shoulders away from the ears for 6. Circling from deep in the hip. Give me 4 more. Side bum, 3 and 2 and 1. Bring it all the way back in, finding your twisted child's pose. Oh my goodness. That was our warm up. So we'll see what's to come.